Broadcasting live from the moon and back, this is The Coin Chat, the most trusted voice for all things cryptocurrency. Each week we dissect an important issue and cut through the noise and misinformation out there in the world of blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICOs, capturing the facts that truly matter to you that will give you an edge in this fast-moving emerging market. The who, what, where, when, and how of what you need to know in crypto to get ahead so you don't get left behind. Now here are your co-hosts, financial and crypto experts Yuri Cataldo and Steve Good.
Hey, this is Steve Good on the Coin Chat with my normal co-host, well, not so normal co-host, Yuri Cataldo. And we are joined today by a very wonderful guest, Nelly Moffett, who runs the TaalProject. Nelly, great to have you here. It's a real pleasure. And we just wanted to say it's just a real honor to have you here because you've got some really cool things you're doing in France. And raising profile and awareness of blockchain. And just wanted to introduce you and just jump into this.
All right, thanks for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Of course.
So you jump in with the first questions we've got.
I do. So again, Nelly, you are absolutely, thank you for joining us. You have a fascinating background. So I know we don't have a lot of time, but in a succinct way, how does someone such as yourself who has a background in foreign affairs work from the Canadian Embassy in Mexico end up in France starting a nonprofit in blockchain?
And writing in French.
And writing in French.
Yeah.
Something small like that.
Okay, so when I was in Mexico, I was born and raised in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And I was, my first career choice was foreign affairs because I wanted to work for, international organization, And then the problem was that to have a permanent position, I had to speak English, Spanish, and French like perfectly.
Wow. And
I had no clue about French. So I came to France to learn French, but in the end, I continued my studies. I applied for a master's degree in international trade, and I'm still here.
Okay.
Wow.
And you're based in the south of France, is that right?
I was in the south of France, but to launch the nonprofit organization, I moved to Lyon. Mm-hmm. That is kind of the region here where the French government wanted to be the French Silicon Valley.
Oh, okay, interesting. I didn't know that.
Near Switzerland.
The French Silicon Valley is in Lyon, really?
It's the region.
In the region. Okay. Cool. So how did you come up with the name Taal, spelled T-A-A-L, for your project? It's
Technological Association for Advanced Learning.
Cool. And why blockchain?
Okay, so when I was in the south of France, in Bordeaux, I was involved in different initiatives to help people as a volunteer. I had my, day job, but in my free time, I help women to integrate into the workforce. And I was also ambassador for a foundation to help the families of hospitalized children. So I was having a great time, helping people. And then I discovered blockchain.
Okay.
I wasn't at all in the tech sector.
You'll never guess what happened next, right? So what happened when you discovered blockchain? Did you have like an epiphany or a story about how you met blockchain and blockchain met you?
So I just at first I was a little bit, I was like, oh my God, that sounds really complicated. I don't know if I will understand, mm-hmm. because I wasn't at all in the tech sector, digital, nothing. And as the more I was, learning about it, and when I really got it, it changed my life. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that the best way I can help people is through education and technology. So I quit my job and we decided to move it to the other side of the country, to the French Silicon Valley region, mm-hmm. to launch TaalProject, because when I was learning about blockchain, I realized two things. First one, there's not a lot of information in French and easy to understand.
Yeah.
Right.
For
You
sure.
know, for mass
Yeah.
adoption, that's not great.
Without a bunch of numbers and letters strung together, you think, what the hell does that mean? Right.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I realized there's not there's not enough women.
Hmm.
And so we wanted to do that to help people understand blockchain for free and hopefully attract more women into the tech sector.
How cool.
Right. So how long have you been running the TaalProject, and what have you learned along the way?
Oh my God.
$1 million
Well,
question.
I launched, I launched TaalProject last June.
Okay, it's almost a year.
It's
So
pretty,
June
it's
2018, right.
And then being in blockchain, I learned a lot of things about myself, first of all, because thanks to, internet and e-learning,
Hmm.
I learned so many things. And then that's kind of the message that we want to give to the people today, thanks to inclusion in education and e-learning. You know, you can learn whatever you want, even if you think it's hard, even if it's not in your language, even
Yeah.
if you don't know anyone that is in the sector, because that's what I did. You know, I never thought I will have like Harvard diplomas on computer science or blockchain,
Hmm.
and now I'm learning programming languages. You know,
Wow.
and yeah,
That's so
and
cool.
that's coming from Latin Americans. This is I'm really touched by everything that it's regarding inclusion,
Yeah.
because my grandmother didn't know how to read or write, and she never
Wow.
had a bank account.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she's one of the classic unbanked people we talk about all the time that crypto can touch. It's amazing.
I know, and
Yeah.
that way I know what it actually means. It's just not financial services. It's the impact that can have in a person and the family life. And the message is like, today, thanks to inclusion, education, and technology, I'm helping people understand a complex technology in my third language in Europe.
Wow.
Right.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
How big is the Taal organization now?
Okay, we started, it was Michael, my husband, one friend of mine that is in Mexico, that she specializes in new methods of education. So that's great.
Cool.
So, and now we have Camille that helps us with marketing. She's in a programmer bootcamp right now, so I'm really excited for her. And we started coding at the same time.
Okay.
And then we have we're developing a project in Nigeria to help people. Somebody that we met in Nigeria to help teach people there. You know, kind of what we're doing here, but in Nigeria. And then we're starting something in Cameroon. There's people coming all the time. We also the idea of Taal is like help people do whatever they want, whatever they want, I mean, whatever they love, but helping people at the same time.
Sure.
It's kind of
Do you still have much of a connection? I mean, I know you're from Mexico originally. Do you still have a strong connection back with Central and South America or Latin America in terms of what's happening in places like Venezuela, or potential developments in terms of how blockchain could be used there and how women could be potentially more empowered in regions like that?
Actually, I'm in contact with a lady, Marcela, that she's in charge in Brazil. She's really active in blockchain in Brazil. And, I follow since I study foreign affairs, I like politics and economy and all the stuff. So I read a lot about what's going on. And it's one of my motivations, because because the people you see in Latin America, I know these people. I grow up with these people. So I know the impact that it can that this technology can actually have, and that's why I started TaalProject, because it's great to have new technologies, but who is going to teach the people to use them?
Correct.
Correct, right. So what's the future of the TaalProject? You know, you're almost 1 year in, you've done major strides. Like, what do you see the project 5-10 years from now? What's your ultimate goal?
Okay, ideally, because what we actually do, every month we give free classes to people, open to everybody, to explain what is blockchain, where does it come from, how it works, and what can I actually do with it. You know, as a normal person.
Right, of course.
And once the people they come to these events that we do once a month, if they want to know more, they can become like members of TaalProject, because it's an association that you become member, and we give them. I made a guide with all the high quality and free learning resources.
How cool!
Yeah, because I did that. I know it works.
But,
Yeah.
but the coin chat's not on there yet, because we've done our whole kind of first 35 episodes on education.
Yeah, you know, when I meet different companies, organizations that share content for free, I always, talk about them, because
Very
that's
cool.
how I learn. And also I put, for example, always all the free resources and how to get a certification. And the cool thing is that you can start from -1, not 0, like -1.
For sure.
You know, and in this thing we can do it like pretty much everywhere.
For sure. Well, Yuri and I often say that the goal has to be that if your grandma can understand the content, then you've managed to now get blockchain into the mainstream. And if our grandmothers or our parents can't understand it, then we're not doing something right.
And it's so funny that you say something like that, because during the classes I give every month, I have all kind of people, you know. I have from the guy that works at a nuclear station here around that wants to know more about it, or I have people, trying to get into the digital sector and explore the option they have, like lawyers. Also, I have people that invest in crypto that they're a little bit lost. Or they also, for example, the last class.
Yeah.
I have a dad that he is in computer science, and he wanted to explain to his daughter, 15-year-old, about blockchain. But she was like, look, I know, you know. And then he came with her so he can explain to her.
How cool.
Yeah. And also I have a mom. She was like almost 60, that she came to know more about blockchain, because her son was trading cryptocurrencies, and she asked him, like, what is that, you know? And when he tried to explain, she didn't understand anything, and she was worried about him.
Oh, wow. Well, I already started with my 4 and 6-year-olds, so they can already tell you about paper wallets, and I put a little video out on YouTube some time ago where I sat with them and I interviewed them for a couple of minutes. And of course, they see the whole thing is funny being on television, but they know what Bitcoin is and digital currency, and they understand what a paper wallet is. I mean, it's very limited, but it's really, I've seen so many videos where people attempt to tell you what a 4 and a 6-year-old actually understand. I thought, what better way to do it than to actually sit down with them for real and show what really they understand, rather than pretending that, don't act it out. So I totally get that whole thing about bringing your child to the school to learn, because that's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, and I would love when I was a kid that somebody explained, but the younger you start being familiar with this thing, the easier it's going to be for you to adopt this kind of music.
Yeah. So how does somebody become a member of the TaalProject?
Everything you do it online.
Yeah. Is there a fee for joining, or it's just
Yeah,
sign up and
it's
your
an
membership.
annual fee. That's like how we find